In a world where controversy drives headlines, Andrew Tate and Jakepaul are undeniable goldmines. Tate, the polarizing kickboxer turned social media provocateur, has finally secured what he's been chasing, a fight with Jakepaul.
Nobody's sitting down right for good reason. We have not only champions of the past, we have world champions of the present.
The announcement came with all the boldness you'd expect from the 37-year-old, who has been targeting the influencer-turned-boxer for months. The showdown is officially set for next year, and while the exact date remains under wraps, the internet is already buzzing with anticipation.
Don't worry about Conor McGregor fucking you up. Don't worry about Floyd Mayweather fucking you up. You only want to lose to them so you can say, well, I lost to Conor McGregor. Why don't you lose to an old man who's retired? I live in the real fucking world, Jake. There's a whole bunch of fighters out here who live in the real fucking world. Men who are dangerous and dedicated their lives to this sport and don't have a fucking...
If he needs to be taught a lesson, I'll be the guy to teach him, Tate had previously said on his podcast. But let's not pretend this fight is about morals or taking the high ground. Tate isn't here to save boxing's integrity or bring Jakepaul down for the sake of honor. He's here for one thing, the payday. And who can blame him? The numbers don't lie. Jakepaul's meteoric rise in the boxing world has proven that fans value spectacle just as much, if not more, than skill.
Yeah, Logan's an idiot. Jake is actually quite a nice guy. I met Jake and he's actually quite a nice guy. I wanted to jump back in there and teach him all a lesson. And there were some fights on the card, some big fights for me being organized in November. And
Jakepaul has rewritten the rules of the fight game, transforming unconventional matchups into blockbuster events. His 8-round bout with 58-year-old boxing legend Mike Tyson was more spectacle than sport, but it worked. The fight generated $18.1 million in ticket sales and drew an audience of 65 million households worldwide. While the financial details remain unclear, reports suggest Paul earned $40 million, with Tyson taking home $20 million. Whether those figures are accurate or not, one thing is undeniable. Jakepaul knows how to capture the world's attention.
We should do, Jake. While you're next training, I know you're only 18 days away from a fight, but next time you're training and you want some sparring, fly to Romania and we'll spar and we'll film it and we'll decide if we want to release it or not afterwards. But I have no problem. We can have a sparring match anytime. That's easy,
let's
right?
Let's do it, guys.
I'm down for that, but we can't. But we can't release it for free. That's like it's like giving the people what they want for nothing. That's kind of.
For all this bluster, Tate respects the hustle. Jake's an okay guy. He's putting boxing on the map, Tate admitted. Nobody should care about watching a 60-year-old fight a 27-year-old. But Jake can make them care, and that's the secret. The secret...
I really dislike Jakepaul. Now, I don't dislike him, I understand him. I want to make something clear. I would still kick the living fuck out of Jakepaul. I'm not some washed-up UFC fighter. I'm not smaller than him. I would beat the living shit out of him. And if he wants to fight, I'll fight him any day of the week, and I'll fucking wreck him, and he knows that. However, I do understand what he's doing. I understand that he is very, very smart, even with his marketing angle. I'm just a YouTuber. You're not just a YouTuber. You're a full-grown man with the best coaches in the world who's dedicated his life to learning how to box for years. You know how to box. You're not a complete amateur. You know how to box very well. 3, 4, 5 years of training combat sports. You can box.
The sauce is that Paul isn't just a fighter. He's an entertainer who knows how to sell a narrative. And that's exactly what Tate is banking on. The fight announcement might seem sudden, but insiders reveal that negotiations between the two camps have been underway for months. Tate himself hinted at the possibility, stating, "We'll see what happens in the future. It's possible because nothing's a no, nothing's a yes. Now it's all yes." Next year, the ring will become a stage where two of the most polarizing figures in modern media settle their egos and rake in a mountain of cash. Even Jakepaul's business manager, Nikisa Badarian, has revealed that Andrew Tate has been relentless in pursuing a boxing match with the 27-year-old influencer-turned-boxer, especially after Paul's heavily scrutinized win over Mike Tyson. Tate has made his intentions clear through text messages, stating that he wants the fight to happen. While the matchup...
let's say he would call you to fight. Would you take it?
Yeah, I mean, Jake and I actually talk. He's an all right guy. There was a time we were talking about fighting each other, and I think if this arrest didn't happen, it probably would have come to fruition. We'll see what happens in the future. We'll see. Perhaps.
It was technically confirmed for next year. There are still doubts about whether it will actually take place. "I love Andrew Tate," Badarian said during an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show. "He's a good man in many ways, especially when it comes to his desire to give back to the world. But I'm not sure where his head is at in life right now and what he wants to do. It's a cryptic statement, but one that highlights the uncertainty surrounding the potential fight, even with contracts in place. Badarian appears unsure if Tate and Paul are aligned on making the fight happen. When asked more about the situation, he provided further insight into the ongoing dialogue. Andrew has messaged me these past few days. He admitted we haven't had that discussion. To be honest, I'm not sure if that fight makes sense for Jake given where his career is at right now in terms of boxing. And
I don't know. I mean, Andrew has messaged me over the past few days, and we haven't had that discussion, to be honest with you. And I'm not sure if that fight makes sense for Jake, given where his career is at right now in terms of boxing. And I'm not sure that fight transcends across different like that definitely for the young male demo, that's a massive fight, right?
Not sure that fight transcends across that demographic of young males. But it's a massive fight. It's a curious take, especially considering that the term massive fight doesn't come lightly in this context. Both Tate and Paul are megastars in their own right, each drawing massive fan bases. Their fight would undoubtedly sell millions of pay-per-views and rake in staggering amounts of money. Yet, Badarian's hesitation points to a more complicated situation behind the scenes, carefully considering whether it aligns with their long-term plans about for Jake's career. Paul's team There's no denying Jake Paul's place in the boxing world right now, whether fans love him, hate him, or watch just to see him lose. Paul has carved out a unique niche where every fight is an event. However, his career has always been as much about strategy as spectacle. Every opponent, from washed-up legends to MMA crossovers, has been handpicked to maximize attention and financial reward while minimizing career.